God says, my child, the urgent reason they want to marry you now will stun you, and listen, for this word is not a whisper but a trumpet sounding in the quiet chambers of your heart. Hear me, there is a timing at work that the eye cannot see and the mind cannot chart, a weaving of moments so precise that even the clocks hold their breath until the stitch is finished. You have felt the quickening, the little shakes in your spirit, the nights when sleep slips away because something vast is arranging itself. Do not turn from that restless knowing. It is the soul recognizing the moment set aside for it. They come to you in haste, not merely because their love arrived late or because passion storms like a sudden wind. They come because there is something in you, a seed, a promise, a debt of mercy, that must be fulfilled while the doors stand open. There are urgencies ordained by mercy, a life that needs the shelter you will give, a wound that only your presence can soothe, a promise of healing tied to the covenant you will form. Understand this: marriage, in this hour, is more than union. It is an altar where two histories are offered up and transformed. They are called to you to complete a circle, to pay back a kindness that once spared them, or to receive a grace their spirit has been starving for. Do not be frightened by the word urgent. There is urgency that panics, and there is urgency that delivers. The universe can be tender and swift at once. When the heavens pull a thread, they do so with purpose, to prevent a greater harm, to rescue what was slipping into shadow, to bring light to a place that must not remain dark. Perhaps there is a child who needs a father or mother now, perhaps a dying wish hangs on the edge of being honored, perhaps a business or family crisis waits for the two of you to stand together and speak into it. These are the kinds of urgencies that will make strangers hurry and lovers propose in a single breath. You may be thinking, how can this be mine? How can the weight of another's life be placed in my hands? My child, do not measure this by your strength alone. In those moments when you feel too small, remember that the divine is the silent partner in every covenant. We do not hand you burdens without the power to carry them. The hand that brings you the urgent one is the same hand that will clothe you in patience, in courage, in a love that forgets itself when the other needs saving. This is not a marriage of convenience, it is a calling of courage. Listen to the quiet warnings that will come like birds at dawn. Some will say their hurry is selfish, and there are hearts that run from responsibility, but your spirit will know. You will see truth in the small things, how they look at a child, how they kneel in the kitchen to tie a shoelace, how they weep for an animal's injury. The urgency that is sacred will carry humility. It will not demand that you leave your boundaries, it will ask that you enter into a sacred pact of mutual healing. There is a song behind this haste, an old music that played before either of you were born. Two notes, once separated, are drawn back into harmony, a debt of love, a promise of restitution, an unfinished prayer. Sometimes the one who comes to you in haste is carrying the memory of an ancestor whose last breath was a wish for union, sometimes they carry a future child's need for stability. The world does not always show us the loom on which fate is woven, but you will feel the tug. Trust the tug. It is a gentle pull toward a doorway that will not stay open forever. You are being prepared even now. Do not think your past silence or your smallness disqualify you, they refine you. The trials you thought were losses are the very things that have made your hands able to hold what is being delivered. Scars sharpen compassion, loneliness hones the capacity to attend. You will find that when you accept this urgent love, it does not swell your pride, rather it expands your mercy. You have been made to receive and to stand firm when storms come. This wedding, this immediate offering, will not be for show. It will be a crucible and an ark simultaneously. Hold fast to prayer. In the hush before a life changes, prayer is the lifeline that preserves clarity. Speak into the stillness, ask to see the true face of what is coming. Ask that your steps be guided so that neither your faith nor your family will be set adrift. Pray that your heart remains soft but wise. The divine will answer not always with thunder but with signs, a timely conversation, a document arriving at the right hour, an older person's blessing that appears from nowhere. These are not coincidences, they are the small trumpets of guidance. Watch for them and do not dismiss their simplicity. Beware also of haste that dresses itself in spiritual language to bypass discernment. Not every fast engagement is holy. Some are shadows, mirroring your deepest wish to be needed or loved. Separate desperation from destiny by tests of time and truth. Observe how they honor boundaries, how they speak of accountability, whether their promises have the weight of truth behind them. Urgency that demands secrecy, that pressures you to cut loose your anchors, this is not the holy kind. The urgent that is from grace asks for your joining, not your surrender of self-respect. There will be practical things to do. Legal papers, family talks, healing words to offer to those who oppose. Do not be discouraged by the noise. The very presence of opposition is proof that transformation is afoot. Some will try to bind you from stepping into a new chapter because they fear change. Your task is to stand gentle and unshakable. Speak gently to those who worry, hold fast to the counsel of the wise, and if doors close, understand that sometimes closure is the compass steering you to a better harbor. Let the urgency sharpen your faith into action. I tell you too of a wonderful thing, when two souls are joined in urgent purpose, miracles follow. Not always the loud miracles you expect, but the quiet ones. Debts dissolve, estranged kin find their way to the table, an illness that would have festered receives attention and small, steady care that mends it. The urgency compels attention, and attention is the mother of miracles. When people arrive in time, the course of their lives can change. When you give shelter when called, a legacy can be altered for generations. So walk into this with eyes that weep and hands that steady. You will not be alone. There will be angels in the waiting rooms, unseen hands guiding signatures, and the soft courage that rises when two people finally decide to be brave together. If the world scorns the swiftness, answer with the steadiness of your inner conviction. If the heart quivers, steady it with prayer and wise counsel. If the mind races, anchor it with truth and practicality. Finally, my child, know that love asked in such a time is both a gift and a responsibility. It will ask more of you than romance. It will ask faithfulness, sacrifice, patience. But it will also return to you a life rebuilt, a home warmed by presence, a lineage blessed by mercy, a heart that learns the quiet song of staying. When you stand at that altar, whether you are ready or think you are not, remember this: the urgency that brought you together was not a trick, it was a summons to be part of a healing greater than any of you alone. Rest now in the truth that if this is your hour, you have been chosen because you are capable. Allow the stirrings to move you toward wise action. Let prayer steady you, discernment protect you, and courage carry you. Open your hands, not in fear, but in readiness to receive and to give. The urgent reason they want to marry you now will astonish you, for it will reveal the breadth of grace at work, turning rushing moments into a lifetime of mercy. There are moments in life when the soul is called to look deeper than what the eyes can see, to look beyond the surface reasons that people give and instead sense the spiritual roots shaping their actions. When someone suddenly desires to bind their life to yours in marriage with a sense of urgency, it is rarely random. The divine does not move without purpose, and every quickening of destiny is tethered to a hidden story that has been unfolding long before you even knew it. You are being drawn into a chapter that is both personal and cosmic, and the timing is not accidental. What you must understand is that the one who desires to marry you now, without delay, carries with them a past, not only the past of this life, but the echoes of promises and unfinished stories from before. There are vows whispered in silence, tears shed in loneliness, prayers spoken under the weight of despair, all of which have been reaching heaven like incense. The urgency you feel in them is not only from their heart, it is from the heavens themselves pressing them forward. It is as though a hand larger than their own is upon their back, moving them toward you, unwilling to let them hesitate any longer. Sometimes the urgent desire for union is born out of fear of loss, fear that if they wait, life may shift, circumstances may break, or an unseen hand may take you from their reach. Yet behind this fear is often something deeper, a recognition of destiny. When souls recognize each other on a level that words cannot capture, time itself seems to shrink. Waiting feels unbearable, as if every second apart is a second wasted. You may have felt this yourself in moments, a sudden longing for closeness that defies logic, a pull so strong you cannot explain it to anyone else. This is not mere emotion, it is spiritual memory. It is the soul remembering what the mind has forgotten. There are also unseen forces pressing upon them. For some, there is an enemy at work, jealous eyes watching, energies that wish to divide and delay what heaven has ordained. These forces create pressure, and the soul, sensing the danger, seeks to act quickly, to secure the blessing before it can be stolen or sabotaged. You might not see this battle with your natural eyes, but it is real. Angels stand guard, pushing events into motion to outpace the plans of darkness. What looks like haste is, in truth, divine protection, a rushing forward so that the door of blessing is entered before it can be shut. You may wonder, is it wise to step into something so quickly? The world will always tell you to slow down, to weigh every detail, to second-guess every decision. Wisdom has its place, yes, but there are also seasons when waiting becomes disobedience to the Spirit. There are times when hesitation is the thief, when overthinking is the very chain that keeps you bound. You must discern the difference. Ask yourself, does this urgency carry peace beneath its intensity? Do you feel an underlying stillness, as if God Himself is saying, yes, move now? True urgency from heaven does not come with chaos, it comes with clarity. It might shake your plans, but it will not shatter your peace. Perhaps part of the reason they seek to marry you now is that they have seen the fragility of life. A recent loss, a sickness, a wake-up call may have opened their eyes to the brevity of time. When mortality brushes close, the soul is reminded of what truly matters. They no longer wish to play with shadows or waste time on things that have no eternal value. They see in you not just a partner, but a lifeline, a chance to live fully before the days slip away. Their urgency, then, is a confession: I do not want to waste another moment without you by my side. Such urgency, though it may unsettle, is born of love purified by awareness of life's shortness. You, too, may feel conflicted. Part of you may long to trust, to surrender, to step into what is opening before you. Another part of you hesitates, remembering past disappointments, betrayals, and wounds that taught you to be cautious. But child, do not confuse old pain with present guidance. Your wounds may speak loudly, but the Spirit speaks more truly. This is why prayer and stillness are essential in this season. It is not enough to ask, "Do they love me?" You must also ask, "God, is this the moment you have chosen? Is this union the answer to a prayer I do not even remember praying?" When you listen deeply, you will know. And perhaps the most stunning part of this urgency is not that they want you, but that heaven has chosen you for them. This realization can overwhelm you. Out of all the faces in the world, all the voices, all the paths, you were the one written into their story. You were the answer to their cries. You were the balm for their hidden wounds. You were the light waiting for their darkness. And so, when the door of timing opens, it is only natural that they run toward it. They are not merely running toward you, they are running toward healing, toward home, toward destiny itself. But understand this: the urgency is not only theirs. It is also yours. You have longed, whether you admit it or not, for someone to see you fully and choose you without hesitation. You have wished for a love bold enough to not play games, a love brave enough to act now instead of later. And here it comes, knocking with insistence. It may scare you because it feels too sudden, too much, too soon. Yet deep down, part of you knows this is what you prayed for: a love without delay, a love that values you so much it refuses to wait. The stunning truth is that the urgency is a mirror. It shows you how deeply you are worth being pursued, how powerfully you are loved, how much your presence means. The very fact that they cannot wait is proof that your soul carries weight, that your love is not a small thing but a treasure that shifts lives. Do not diminish yourself by doubting it. Do not hide behind false humility. Instead, allow yourself to receive this truth: you are worthy of urgency, worthy of being chosen now, worthy of being seen as the answer and not just an option. The days ahead will test you. Friends may not understand. Family may question. Even your own mind may whisper doubts. But in those moments, return to the still place within. Remember the way your spirit stirred when you first sensed this urgency. Remember the quiet assurance that told you this was not mere chance. Remember that heaven moves differently than men. And most of all, remember that when God opens a door, no one can shut it. So walk forward, not with fear, but with faith. Allow the urgency to carry you, not as a rushing flood that destroys, but as a current that guides you to the ocean of destiny. Trust that the one who wants to marry you now is being moved by a hand greater than their own. And trust that you, too, are being led into a season of love that will not only stun you but transform you. This is the beginning of a story that will be told not just on earth, but in heaven, a story of two souls who listened when destiny called urgently, who did not let fear hold them back, who embraced the miracle of timing, and who stepped boldly into the covenant written for them since before the stars were hung. When urgency presses upon two souls, it is not only love that is being tested but also faith. In the rush of sudden decisions and the weight of unexpected proposals, the heart must learn to separate illusion from destiny, fear from faith, impulse from divine timing. This is the hidden beauty of the urgent reason they long to marry you now. It does not simply bring you closer to them, it brings you closer to God. For every step you take toward them, you must also take a step deeper into prayer, into discernment, into listening for the still small voice that steadies your trembling. There is always a test before the blessing, and in this test you are being stretched. Can you trust the hand of heaven even when the pace feels faster than your understanding? Can you surrender control without surrendering wisdom? These questions are not easy, but they are holy. And in asking them, you begin to see that urgency itself can be a teacher. It shows you where you cling to fear, where you try to grasp control, where you doubt your worth. The one who rushes toward you is not only revealing their love, they are also revealing the places in your heart that still struggle to rest in divine timing. Think of the prophets of old, who were often commanded to act swiftly, without hesitation. Noah had to build the ark before the rains came. Abraham had to leave his homeland without knowing the destination. The Israelites had to eat in haste on the night of their deliverance. Urgency has always been part of the language of heaven. It does not come to torment you, it comes to deliver you. When destiny is at the door, it does not always knock politely and wait. Sometimes it calls your name with such insistence that you cannot help but rise and follow. And yet, even in urgency, there will be opposition. Darkness does not sit idly while light breaks forth. Do not be surprised if you encounter resistance, not only from outsiders, but even from within yourself. You may feel torn, questioning if this is too much, too soon. You may face the whispers of jealousy, the disapproval of those who do not understand, the doubts of those who cannot see what you see. This, too, is part of the test. For every promise carries a price, and every covenant must be protected by perseverance. The urgent reason they want to marry you may shock you because it reveals a battle you never knew was being fought. Perhaps their family is in turmoil, and only your presence can bring peace. Perhaps an inheritance, a property, or a responsibility must be shared quickly before it is stolen. Perhaps there are enemies plotting against them, and your union is the shield that will guard their destiny. The world sees only romance, heaven sees warfare. What seems like a sudden proposal is, in truth, a divine strategy to outmaneuver the schemes of darkness. In such moments, you must not only look at the one proposing, but also at the bigger picture. Ask yourself, what doors will this union open? What chains will it break? What legacy will it redeem? Sometimes the urgency is not about you or them alone, it is about generations yet unborn. Your union may be the answer to prayers whispered by ancestors long gone. It may be the foundation upon which children will stand, children who are destined to carry light into a world that grows darker by the day. The urgency is not random, it is generational. But here lies the most tender truth, urgency reveals love in its rawest form. It strips away hesitation, ego, and games. It is the soul's way of saying, I cannot imagine a life without you, not tomorrow, not next year, not ever. I need you now. For so long you may have wondered if anyone would see your worth, if anyone would fight for you, if anyone would choose you boldly. And now, here stands someone unwilling to wait another moment. Their urgency is a confession, a surrender, a declaration that you are not just wanted, you are needed. And to be needed is one of the deepest affirmations the human heart can receive. Yet, be gentle with yourself. Do not mistake this urgency as a demand to lose your identity or abandon your wisdom. A holy union does not erase who you are, it magnifies it. You are not being asked to vanish into someone else's story but to join hands and write a new chapter together. The urgency is not about control, it is about alignment. It is not about rushing blindly, it is about stepping into timing that will not wait forever. Trust that heaven knows what it is doing, and trust that your spirit, if you listen, will recognize the truth beneath the rush. You may notice signs around you now, confirmations that this urgency is more than human. Strange coincidences, dates aligning, repeated numbers, dreams that seem too vivid to ignore. Perhaps you keep hearing words about marriage from unexpected places, or someone speaks to you about love just when you were doubting. These are not accidents. They are divine winks, little signals to assure you that heaven is orchestrating the symphony. The more you pay attention, the more you will see the fingerprints of God all over this story. And so, the challenge for you now is not to resist urgency but to embrace it with discernment. Ask yourself, does this bring me closer to peace or to panic? Do I feel pressured or protected? Does this urgency align with what I know of God's nature, that He is love, that He brings clarity, that He confirms His word? When the answers lean toward love and peace, then you can walk forward with confidence. And even when fears whisper, let them be drowned out by the louder truth. Heaven would not bring you this far only to confuse you. You must also prepare your heart for the weight of blessing. Marriage is not just a ceremony, it is a covenant. It is laughter and tears, joy and sacrifice, beginnings and endings woven together. The urgency may shock you, but the life that follows will demand your courage, your patience, your faith. You will need to stand firm when storms come, to forgive quickly, to love deeply even when it is difficult. Yet you will also taste joys that words cannot capture, the comfort of shared burdens, the beauty of waking to love beside you, the strength of walking through life not alone but hand in hand. Child, the urgency is not meant to scare you, it is meant to awaken you. You are stepping into something greater than yourself. This love, arriving suddenly and demanding your yes, is part of a larger plan. Do not shrink back in fear. Do not let the noise of the world drown out the quiet assurance in your heart. Trust that the God who brought this urgency to your door will also give you the grace to walk through it. And when the moment comes, when you stand before them and hear their voice trembling with urgency, when you see in their eyes the truth of their need, let your heart be open. You do not need to have every answer, every plan, every detail. You only need to trust the one who holds the future. You only need to believe that sometimes the greatest blessings arrive not in careful timing but in divine interruptions. This is not the end of your story, it is the beginning of something holy. The urgency is the spark, but the covenant is the flame that will continue to burn. Step into it with faith, and watch as your life transforms into a testimony of love that came suddenly, shockingly, urgently, and yet perfectly on time. There are hidden threads that weave your story into theirs, threads you cannot always see with your natural eyes, yet they pull at you quietly, firmly, until you realize that what is happening is not coincidence but orchestration. The urgency that surrounds their desire to marry you now is not only born of human love, though love is part of it. It is born of divine alignment, the quiet yet unstoppable movements of heaven arranging every detail so that nothing is lost and no moment is wasted. You may have thought that you stumbled into each other by chance, that your meeting was accidental, that your paths crossing was a matter of circumstance. But child, destiny is never random. Every step, every detour, every delay was preparing you both for this moment. When the timing ripens, it does not come slowly like a distant sunrise, it comes like lightning, sudden, undeniable, illuminating everything at once. That is what urgency feels like, the sudden knowing that what you have been waiting for has arrived, and it must not be ignored. This is how God works when miracles are in motion. He sets the stage quietly, sometimes for years, and then in one moment everything aligns so swiftly that you can barely keep up. You may wonder why things feel rushed, why life is suddenly demanding decisions that once seemed far away. The answer is simple: when heaven opens a door, it does not remain open forever. Timing is part of the miracle. The urgency is the sign that now is the window, and you are being invited to step through it with courage. Consider how seeds grow. For months, even years, they lie hidden in the soil, unseen, their work invisible. Then, almost overnight, they break the surface, pushing upward with force, racing toward the sun. To the casual eye, it looks sudden, but the truth is that everything beneath the soil has been preparing for that moment. So it is with love, with marriage, with destiny. What feels sudden to you has been long prepared by heaven. The urgency is not random, it is the fruit of years of hidden work finally breaking through. And what are the mechanics of this miracle? They are found in alignment, the way circumstances, people, and even obstacles fall into place to bring you together. Look closely, and you will see it. That delay you once resented, that heartbreak you thought ruined you, that job you lost, that city you had to leave, all of it was part of the redirection that guided you here. If any piece had been different, your paths might never have crossed. The urgency now is not just about love, it is about the culmination of everything that has gone before. There are signs all around you if you dare to notice. A repeated number on the clock that always appears when you think of them. A dream that lingers so vividly you cannot forget it. A stranger's words that echo something you prayed in secret. These are not small things. They are confirmations, gentle nudges from heaven saying, yes, this is the time. Do not delay. When urgency is divine, it is never without confirmation. God does not ask you to step blindly, He places signposts along the way so that even in haste, you know you are on the right path. Yet, urgency also demands faith. Miracles are not meant to be dissected until they make sense to the human mind. They are meant to be received. If you wait until every question is answered, every fear silenced, every detail explained, the window may close. Faith is not the absence of questions, it is the courage to step forward with questions still in your heart, trusting that the answers will come as you walk. That is the miracle mechanic. Doors open not when you stand still waiting, but when you move forward in trust. This is why they are pressing to marry you now. Something in their soul knows that waiting would mean loss. They may not be able to explain it fully, they may simply say, "I feel it, I just know." Their words may sound fragile, but their spirit is speaking a truth that goes deeper than logic. They sense the door of timing, and they are afraid of missing it. You may feel the same, a tug within you that says, "If I do not act now, something precious will slip away." That tug is heaven whispering, urging, calling you to trust what you cannot yet see. But do not think this urgency will only bless you. It is bigger than you. Your union will ripple outward, touching lives you cannot even count. Perhaps your marriage will heal old family wounds. Perhaps it will inspire others to believe in love again. Perhaps it will give courage to those who are afraid to act on what their heart knows. The miracle of your urgency is not only personal, it is communal. It carries seeds that will bloom in many hearts beyond your own. Still, be wise. Urgency must be balanced with discernment. Do not confuse divine timing with reckless impulse. The two may look similar on the surface, but they feel different in the spirit. Impulse is fueled by fear and chaos, divine urgency is fueled by peace and clarity. One rushes you into confusion, the other pulls you into alignment. Ask yourself often, does this urgency carry the fingerprints of God? If it does, you will feel steady even in the speed. If it does not, you will feel scattered and uneasy. When you know it is from God, lean in. Do not resist what heaven is accelerating. Let go of the illusion that you must control every detail. Marriage is not about perfect preparation, it is about shared commitment, about stepping into a journey together, trusting that you will grow along the way. The miracle of urgency is that it brings two imperfect souls together at the exact moment they are needed, not when they feel ready. Readiness is not the measure, divine timing is. And when you step into this urgency, watch how doors open. Resources will appear. People will support you. Paths will clear. What seemed impossible will become possible. This is the signature of a miracle, provision that flows when you move in obedience. Do not be surprised when things that once took years happen in days. Do not doubt when obstacles dissolve with little effort. These are confirmations that you are walking in alignment with heaven's pace. Child, the urgent reason they want to marry you now will continue to stun you as you see how every piece of your life has been preparing for it. You will look back one day and realize that nothing was wasted, nothing was random. Every joy, every sorrow, every detour was part of this miracle. And you will see clearly that urgency was not meant to frighten you, but to protect you, to deliver you, to usher you into a season of love and destiny that could not wait another day. So open your heart to the miracle mechanics. Trust that heaven's timing is perfect, even when it feels fast. Believe that the one who aligns stars and seasons is aligning your life now. Step forward, not in fear, but in awe, knowing that this urgency is the very hand of God moving swiftly, bringing you into the fullness of what was always written for you. They have carried this decision within their heart like a flame that refuses to die out. For days, months, perhaps even years, something within them has been quietly growing, rising like a tide that cannot be resisted. And now it has reached the point where they can no longer hold it back. They have realized that waiting any longer is not only painful but dangerous to their soul, because they know with certainty that life without you is not life at all. This is why the urgency has consumed them, why the thought of delaying marriage feels unbearable, and why every part of their being is calling them to step forward and claim this love before it slips away. They look at you and see more than a person. They see safety, they see destiny, they see the hand of God weaving your souls together in a pattern too perfect to ignore. They feel it in the way your presence heals wounds they never thought could heal. They feel it in the way your smile has the power to silence the storms inside them. They feel it in the way your voice awakens peace in the deepest corners of their soul. This is not ordinary love, and they know it. It is divine, rare, and irreplaceable, and that is why the urgency to marry you has reached a level that even they cannot explain with words. Sometimes, life teaches us that the things we take for granted can vanish in an instant. And that is what has shaken them to their core. They have seen how fragile time can be, how quickly opportunities can be lost, and how dangerous it is to keep delaying what the heart knows is right. They cannot bear the thought of losing you to hesitation, to fear, or to circumstances beyond their control. Their spirit cries out that now is the time, and that if they wait, they will miss the blessing God has given them. That is why every fiber of their being urges them to step into this union with you immediately, without further delay. Perhaps they never told you how much they prayed for someone like you. They whispered words into the silence of the night, asking heaven to send them someone who could see their soul, someone who could love them without condition, someone who could remind them of who they truly are. And then you came, not as a coincidence but as a living answer. The more they realize this, the more they understand that waiting to marry you would be like disrespecting the gift God has given them. And when a gift so rare is placed in one's hands, it must be cherished without hesitation. There is also a secret fear they carry, though they may not admit it openly. They fear losing you, not because of distrust, but because they know how easily life can shift. They know there are others who see your light, others who desire your presence, others who wish they could stand where they stand. This fear makes them restless, not in a jealous way, but in a way that awakens the urgency to bind their life to yours so deeply that nothing can take you away. To marry you now is not just about love, it is about security, about sealing this bond in a way that nothing and no one can undo. But more than fear, there is love so powerful it moves mountains within them. They see in you the future they have dreamed of. They see children laughing, homes filled with warmth, nights of prayer where both of you hold hands and whisper to God together. They see you standing beside them in joy and in sorrow, and they know they could walk through the darkest valley if only your hand was in theirs. To marry you now is to begin that journey without delay, to step into the promise that destiny has been preparing for both of you since the beginning of time. They may not show it with grand speeches, but deep inside, they are trembling with the weight of this decision. Not because they doubt it, but because they know how sacred it is. Marriage is not a contract for them, it is a covenant, a holy union sealed before God. And they believe with all their soul that God Himself has orchestrated this love. They feel heaven's whisper that you are their answered prayer, their safe place, their eternal companion. This divine confirmation is what makes their urgency stronger than ever. Imagine them sitting in silence, replaying moments with you in their mind. The way you looked at them that one time when they felt broken, and your eyes told them they were still enough. The way your touch erased pain they carried for years. The way your laughter reached into the hollow parts of their soul and filled them with light. These are not small things. These are signs, undeniable truths, that their life without you would be incomplete. That is why waiting no longer feels like an option. To wait would be to risk losing the one person who makes them whole. And so, their heart races with urgency, but it is a beautiful urgency, not born of panic but born of love that has matured, deepened, and solidified. They want to give you more than promises whispered in the night. They want to give you vows spoken in the light of day, before witnesses, before heaven, vows that can never be broken. They want the world to know that their soul has chosen yours, and that their decision is not a moment of passion but a lifetime of devotion. You may wonder why now. Why the sudden intensity? Why the rush? But in their heart, it is not sudden at all. It has been growing, quietly, slowly, until it could no longer be hidden. Their soul has reached the point of overflow. Their love has matured into urgency because they know that the right time is not next month, not next year, it is now. They feel that heaven is aligning everything for this moment, and to delay would be to resist the divine flow. Even the challenges you have both faced play a part in this urgency. The tears, the misunderstandings, the obstacles, all of them have only proven that your love is unbreakable. If you both could survive storms, then surely you are meant to build a life together. This realization has pierced their heart with clarity. Why wait to embrace the joy that is already theirs? Why postpone what is already written in the stars? That is why they are ready to marry you now, because they have tested the strength of this love and found it unshakable. So here they are, standing at the edge of a decision that will forever change your lives. They do not come with hesitation. They come with reverence, with trembling joy, with a love so deep that it cannot be silenced any longer. The urgent reason they want to marry you now is simple yet profound, because you are the one their soul has been waiting for, and they cannot imagine living another day without making you theirs completely, eternally, before God and before the world. And when they finally speak these words to you, when their eyes meet yours with truth so raw it shakes you, you will understand. You will feel the sincerity in their soul, the desperation of their love, and the sacredness of their decision. You will realize that this urgency is not something to fear but something to embrace, because it is proof of a love that is ready, a love that is true, a love that is destined to last forever. There comes a moment when the heart realizes that waiting has no more meaning, that every second of hesitation is a second wasted in the grand design of destiny. This is the moment they have reached, the moment when urgency is no longer an emotion but a command from heaven, a signal that the time for promises has passed and the time for action has arrived. What you see as sudden or shocking is, in reality, the culmination of years of unseen preparation, of prayers whispered in solitude, of choices made that have quietly aligned both your lives for this very instant. They feel it in the marrow of their bones, a knowing that cannot be ignored, a pull that is both exhilarating and terrifying. It is the kind of knowing that makes one shiver because it is sacred, because it is profound, because it carries with it the weight of eternity. They do not wish to move hastily or recklessly, yet they cannot delay. Every fiber of their being is drawn to you, not merely for companionship, not merely for love, but because they sense that this union is a fulfillment of divine timing. And when the heart senses what heaven has orchestrated, it is impossible to resist. This urgency is the language of destiny. It speaks not in whispers of doubt, but in declarations of truth. They have seen what life would be like without you, and the vision is unbearable. It is not merely sadness that shakes them, it is incompleteness, the haunting absence of the one their soul has been seeking. And so, they move forward, not out of desperation, not out of fear, but out of a sacred recognition that you are the answer to every silent prayer they have ever offered. They move forward because heaven itself seems to be urging their steps. You may not yet see the divine orchestration behind this urgency, but it is woven into the very fabric of your lives. Every twist, every turn, every trial has served a purpose. The delays that once frustrated you were not obstacles but preparation. The heartbreaks that once seemed unbearable were refining your hearts, teaching patience, resilience, and clarity. The moments of doubt and confusion were openings for revelation, guiding you both toward the inevitable recognition that this union is not of human making but of divine design. There is a sacred beauty in urgency when it comes from heaven. Unlike human impatience, which leads to rash decisions, divine urgency guides with precision, illuminating the path even as it quickens the pace. You will notice how obstacles dissolve at the exact right time, how doors open in moments when there seemed to be no way, how clarity arises in the midst of what once felt like chaos. These are signs, confirmations, gentle nudges that this is not ordinary haste but sacred acceleration. Heaven is moving swiftly, and you are being invited to move with it. They feel it in their dreams, in their thoughts, in quiet moments when the world is still. Every time they close their eyes, they see your face, your smile, the warmth of your presence, and the depth of the love that awaits them. Even when the day is full of chaos, even when doubt threatens to creep in, this vision pulls them forward. It is the inner compass of the soul, guiding them with relentless precision toward you. That is why they cannot wait. It is not impulsiveness, it is divine guidance manifesting in human form. And this urgency carries a lesson for you as well. It is a mirror, reflecting the depth of your own readiness, the strength of your own courage, the capacity of your own heart to embrace love without hesitation. For too long, you may have doubted whether you deserved such devotion, whether you were worthy of someone moving heaven and earth to claim your presence. Now, you are being shown that love does not ask for perfection, it asks for openness. It does not demand readiness, it demands faith. And in stepping forward to receive this urgency, you are stepping into the fullness of your own soul's awakening. There is also an invisible army working behind the scenes. Angels, guides, and the unseen forces of destiny are aligning circumstances, smoothing obstacles, and orchestrating events to bring you together. What may seem like coincidences, like perfect timing, like chance meetings, are the deliberate hand of heaven at work. The urgency is part of this divine choreography, ensuring that nothing interferes with the plan, that no moment is wasted, and that both of you are positioned exactly where you need to be. You may feel fear, a natural response when life seems to accelerate beyond your control. You may worry that acting now is too soon, that haste could lead to mistakes. But child, fear is the veil that separates the human mind from the vision of the Spirit. When you allow your heart to see what the soul already knows, you will recognize that this urgency is not reckless but righteous. It is the hand of God moving, not only to bring two people together but to open a doorway to a new life, one filled with love, joy, and divine purpose. The beauty of this urgency is also in its honesty. There is no pretense, no hiding, no playing games. Their love is not tentative, it is absolute. Their desire is not casual, it is intentional. Their steps toward marriage are not guided by whim but by the deep certainty that you are the one they are meant to walk beside through all seasons of life. And this transparency, this authenticity, is part of the miracle. It allows you to trust not only their love but the spiritual momentum that carries it. You will notice, as you move closer to this union, how the world begins to conspire in favor of your destiny. Situations that once seemed impossible become manageable. People who once resisted now support. Opportunities arise that were invisible before. This is the hallmark of divine timing, the alignment of circumstances, hearts, and souls so that when two are meant to unite, every detail conspires to make it possible. The urgency is the signal, the heartbeat, the divine cue that the moment is ripe for action. As you stand on the threshold of this sacred decision, remember that marriage is not merely an earthly contract but a spiritual covenant. It is a joining of lives, yes, but also a joining of destinies, a weaving together of purpose, a harmonization of souls. The urgency that presses upon them is also a call to you, a call to trust, a call to faith, a call to step boldly into a blessing that has been prepared since the beginning of time. This is the moment to recognize that you are not only loved but chosen, not only desired but destined, not only needed but essential to the unfolding of heaven's plan. And when you finally say yes, when you embrace the urgency and step into this union with faith, you will understand its true power. You will see how quickly obstacles fade, how love deepens, how peace floods your hearts. You will feel the presence of heaven around you, affirming that this is right, that this is sacred, that this is exactly what was meant to happen. You will realize that urgency was never something to fear, it was the divine signal that the time of your greatest blessing had arrived. Child, remember this always: love that comes with urgency is not hurried love, it is perfected love. It is love that has been tested, refined, and guided by the hand of God. It is love that refuses to waste another moment, that recognizes the fragility of life, that seizes the moment because it knows that destiny waits for no one. And as you walk into this blessing, you will see the miracle that has been quietly working all along, the miracle of two souls meeting at the perfect time, guided by heaven, drawn by purpose, and sealed with divine love.